Hi guys, and welcome to Book and Loop, where happiness is handmade and the best boyfriends are always found in books. So I bought a ton of books in August, unintentionally. It wasn't my plan. I usually try not to buy a ton of new books just because I have a bunch that I haven't read quite yet, but I just couldn't help myself. I wound up buying literally a ton of books. So I'm going to quickly run through all the books that I bought in August because there's quite a few of them. And I always love those like book haul videos, so I'm gonna do that for you guys. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So I did wind up getting a lot of these books on like for a discounted price or like on sale because I am all about saving that money. So so most of them I wound up getting like pretty cheap, and that's why I wound up buying them. So the first book that I have for you guys is Damsel by Elana K. Arnold. And Damsel kind of gives me like a little bit Sleeping Beauty vibes. So it's about a prince that has to go and slay a dragon in order to rescue a damsel. And the damsel has no memory of what happened before she was with the dragon, kind of just remembers that she was taken by the dragon. And so as she kind of ventures back to the kingdom with this prince, she starts to realize things aren't exactly what they seem, and things are maybe a little more twisted than she thought. So this is actually a book that we have at the library, and I wound up getting it at the dollar store, which I was super excited about. So it seemed like a really good story. I love retellings, everybody knows that, and I'm super into anything having to do with like a prince and princess kind of character, and so I was super excited that I was able to pick this up from the dollar store. And I love checking the dollar store for books. I sometimes have found some really good ones. Sometimes you get a little, sometimes every once in a while you get a dud, but I feel like this one's gonna be really good. I mean, it won the Michael Prince Award, so gotta be good, right? So that is Damsel by Elana K. Arnold. So the next book that I bought in August was The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. So this is the fourth book in the Truly Devious series, and I've spoken previously about how I love Truly Devious. I did a whole book review on it, and I want to read the rest. I haven't had a chance to read the rest of the series yet because, as you guys know, I've been doing my I Read It All series, but I did pick up The Box in the Woods from Target because they had it there in paperback. Once I read Truly Devious, I wanted to buy the whole series because I loved the first book so much, but I had the first book in paperback, so I had to buy the rest of them in paperback. But when I bought them, The Box in the Woods wasn't out in paperback just yet, but now it is, so I had to get it. And for those of you that don't know, Truly Devious is about a private school in Vermont where I think it was like 80 or 90 years ago, there was a kidnapping and a murder that happened in the middle of the night for the founder of the school's family. And then there, 80 to 90 years later, Stevie Bell shows up on campus, and she wants to try and solve that murder, but while she's there, another murder occurs under like the same name as that first murder. So Truly Devious was really good. I really loved it. I definitely suggest that you read it. This is, like I said, is the fourth book in the series, so really good. So that's The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. So the next book that I got on August was Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I have been seeing so much about how if you love Red Queen, you'll love Shatter Me. It's been all over my Bookstagram, like literally so much people are saying that if you love Red Queen, you'll love Shatter Me. So I had to, of course, go and pick it up, and they had it at the BJ's by my house. So when I was in there picking some stuff up for a trip I was taking, I picked up this little paperback copy of Shatter Me. And this story is about a girl named Juliet, and Juliet, her touch is fatal for people. And basically her people in charge of where she lives, her government entity, is basically looking to use her as a weapon, but Juliet decides like she wants to fight back. I love anything where it's like I have these magical powers and people are trying to use it for evil, and like I think that, and you kind of like fight back against that. Like a lot of that is like built into the first book that I wrote, Tag, that I talk about all the time. So I am super excited to read this one. And then there's a couple books in this series, so I'm really excited. I love a good series. I mean, I'm super into series, so I'm really excited. That is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. So the next couple of books that I bought are actually a big stack that I got, and that is, I wound up getting and this is like super cool. I don't know how many people know this, but a lot of public libraries, especially in the Long Island area, they actually sell old copies of books that have been weeded that are still in pretty good condition. And like they sell them at different price points. I know like our library that I work at sells them for 10 cents. The one that I bought these at is 50 cents for one or three for $1. So I wound up getting a lot of Sarah J Maas books at the library. So I got the Assassin's Blade, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. And I wound up getting them for, I think I got one other book that I bought for my cousin, but I wound up getting these ones for, like, all of it total was $2.50. So $2.50 for all these books. So definitely, like, if you guys are trying to be a reader on a budget and you like to own the books that you read, it's definitely really cool to go to your library and kind of like look through the books that they've weeded and are getting rid of. You can sometimes find some really good finds there. So these are like basically brand new mint condition Sarah J Maas books that I was like going to have to spend, I don't even know, probably like $80 to $90 on, that now I don't have to because I had them and I already owned a copy of Throne of Glass. I'm missing one book. I don't remember which one it is. I'm missing Empire of Storms. Does that sound right? Yeah. So I'm missing Empire of Storms, but I will just buy that one regular. So I'm super, super excited. This was like a really amazing find. So I wasn't kidding when I said I was book buying on a budget this month. So it's like, okay that I bought a ton of books. So I wound up getting, like I said, all of these at one of the public libraries by my house for $2.50. So, and actually really I got these ones for $2 because they were 3 for $1. So $2 for all these Sarah J Maas books. Super exciting. Really, really happy with this purchase. So this is from the Throne of Glass series, and Throne of Glass is about Kalina, who's a assassin. I don't really know too much about Throne of Glass other than that, which I know is like probably like a sin because it's like such a popular series, but I read A Court of Thorns and Roses first and I absolutely loved it, and so I was like, oh, I have to get Throne of Glass now. So I had bought Throne of Glass in paperback and then was going to slowly start to collect the rest of the series, but then when I saw that they had basically all of them at the library, I was like, nice, getting that. So those are the Throne of Glass books that I bought this month from the library. Okay, so the next few books I actually bought while I was on vacation. So the first one that I bought was Dream More, Celebrate the Dreamer in You by Dolly Parton. When I was on vacation, we went to Dollywood and they had this book available and I had to get it because I think Dolly Parton is just like the sweetest person. Like, she's so down to earth. There's actually a Hey YA podcast and I talk about how Dolly Parton is the patron saint of YA. So those of you who don't know, Dolly Parton actually, she founded and runs the Imagination Library, which gives books to underserved communities. And it really, she's just like such a nice and sweet lady. So this is just basically a book talking about her own personal philosophy about how you should really dream more and like really just like don't be afraid to like go after your dreams. And it's a super small book and I just am really excited to read it because I think it'll be a good inspiration for me on those days when I like need that extra boost to kind of like chase my dreams, you know? So I wound up buying this in the Dollywood Park and I was just super, super excited about it. So that's Dream More by Dolly Parton. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I finally got the chance to go to a Books a Million while I was on vacation in Tennessee. We don't have any by where I live. We only have a Barnes and Noble. When I went on my cross-country road trip 2 years ago, I wound up going to a Half Price Books, which is one that we also don't have by me. So this time I made it a point to go to a Books a Million. So I bought, while I was there, 6 books, and my family was in the car waiting for me while I was in there looking around, and they were placing bets to see how many books they thought that I was going to be coming home with, and I wound up buying 6 books. One was not for me, so I feel like it's okay, right? So the first book that I bought was The Big Book of BTS. I wound up getting this, I think, for $6. I wound up buying it actually for my cousin, so my cousin is 6, and she knows that I love BTS, and so she kind of started to love BTS, and I have a bunch of BTS albums and books that I keep on my shelf, and she always would ask me if she could have one, so I wound up buying one for her, and I'm going to give it to her for her birthday this year. So it's super cute. I mean, it has some really nice pictures in it, and like some good information and stats, and I think that she'll really like it. So I got the Big Book of BTS for my cousin. The next book that I bought was The Merciful Crow by Margaret, and this was another one that I got bargain priced for $6. When I was going to BookCon one year, they were really pushing The Merciful Crow, and I really wanted to read it, but I just never got around to buying the book. So when they had it at half price books, I was like, I have to get it, you know? So it's hard to, like, for me to explain exactly what this book is about, so I'm just going to read you guys the flap cover so that you guys can have an idea. So, a future chieftain, a fugitive prince, a too cunning bodyguard, and one grumpy gray tabby. Fi abides by one rule: look after your own. As the future chieftain of a shunned castle of mercy killers, she relies on her wits and bone magic drawn from the teeth of dead witches to protect her band. The crows take more abuse than coin, so when they're called to collect the royal dead, Fi hopes they'll find the payout of a lifetime. When Fi discovers that Crown Prince Jasimir and his crafty bodyguard Tabin have faked their deaths to escape the ruthless queen Rusana, she's ready to cut her losses and perhaps their throats, but Jazz offers a deal that she can't refuse. Make sure he lives to see the throne and protect the crows when he reigns. To outrun and outwit the queen, the trio forge an uneasy alliance that is soon tested by old secrets, shifting allegiances, and forbidden feelings. As Rusana and her band of deadly trackers loom ever closer, the three fugitives must discover what they're each willing to sacrifice to save their own. So I think that this sounds really cool. It sounds like it's going to be like a really great adventure novel. And I love anything that's like fantasy adventure. Like, that's like my whole thing. So I'm really excited about The Merciful Crow. So, Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. The next book that I bought was Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. And I bought this because I have all of Shadow and Bone, and I have all of Six of Crows, so I need to start collecting the other two books because I want to read it all in one shot. I did read Shadow and Bone because I watched the TV series, so I had to read it first, of course. But I haven't gone past that just yet. So I am super excited. I need to get King of Scars first, and then I can start to read this series. I do really love the way that this book looks. Like, look how gorgeous it looks naked. Like, come on. So I'm really excited. I'm not going to tell you what Rule of Wolves is about, just because I don't want to read the flap and spoil it for myself. I just knew I needed the book. I do generally know that it's about Nikolai. That's the only thing that I kind of know. So I'm super excited to check out Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. The next book that I bought was Thick as Thieves by Meghan Whalen Turner. I have always wanted to read the Queen's Thieves books. They have been on my radar for a really long time. And so I really saw this and that it was a bargain price book at Books A Million, and so I picked it up and brought it back home with me because I am nothing if not a total bargain hunter. And so I picked this up really quickly and brought it back to my house so that I could have it. So I'm super excited to read this one. I think it'll be really good. So I have 2 more books that I bought at Books A Million, and then 2 books I bought once I was home from vacation. So the next book that I bought was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I've been super into reading these adult fantasy romances, basically. And so when I saw this there, I picked it up quickly because I have been wanting to read it. So From Blood and Ash is about a maiden named Patti, and basically her whole thing is that she needs to be very straight-laced and it has to be very pure in order to go through this process called the Ascension, which will basically, it seems, save the kingdom, and that's all fine and dandy until she meets this very nice looking guard named Hawk, and then things kind of start to go kind of wonky. Like I said, I really love the adult fantasy romance genre blending books. So I'm super excited to jump into From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So the last book that I bought at Books A Million was perhaps my most exciting purchase of August, and that is S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. And I have been looking for S for probably close to 10 years. I tried to find it in Barnes & Noble when it first came out. They didn't have it. And then I tried to find it in Half Price Books when I was there. They didn't have it. And I've looked online and used bookstores. I've looked all over the place and I've not been able to find S. And I finally found it at the Books A Million in Pigeon Forge and was super, super excited about it. It is a hefty book. It is one of those books that you're just gonna absolutely love. So basically there's a lore behind the book, and it's that The Ship of Theseus by V.M. Straka is a book that's found on a college library shelf. And this young woman picks up the book and finds that somebody has written notes in the margin of the book. questions and conversations, and the woman starts responding back. So you have this back and forth between the two characters that are writing in the margins of the book, and then there's the actual book itself, and then there's also the story of the author who wrote the book. So it's like a really hefty book. Like, it's like really cool. Like, I have been searching and searching for this because I think it's one of the coolest things, and this was like such an amazing find for me. I can't even tell you, I would literally was like so excited, got in the car and was like, oh my god, I found S. My parents were like, we literally have no idea what you're talking about, and I was like, no, I found S, like, it's so exciting. So I'm really, really excited to jump into this one. I've been a little scared to open it and actually start reading it. I have so much else going on, and I want to have this be something that I can like just sit and really like read and not think about much else. So I'm kind of waiting until like the perfect moment to read it, because I know it's going to be like an experience. So that is S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst, and I'm super, super, super excited to read it. So we're dwindling still. We're getting down to the last two books. So the next book that I have for you guys is by Patti Callahan. It's called Once Upon a Wardrobe. I love Chronicles of Narnia. It was one of the books that really got me into reading, and because of that, when I saw this book, I actually got it on clearance at Hobby Lobby for like $5. It's the story of a young woman whose brother is unfortunately dying, and her brother just loves reading the Chronicles of Narnia, and he has some questions for C.S. Lewis that he wants to ask him, and he really wants to go to Narnia. So he sends his sister out to find the author to find out how it is that he can get to Narnia. And it really is like, I think it's gonna be really good. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, I loved Narnia growing up. It's the book that it was my gateway book. So I'm super excited to read Once Upon a Wardrobe. I think it's gonna be really, really good. So that's Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patti Callahan. And the last book that I have for you is also super, super exciting, and that is Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. I went to go see the Between the Lines musical in the city, and I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I have not stopped singing A Whole New Story, and I'm just like super, super excited like about it. This was just a really, really good play, and it was really great. The music was really good. It closes September 11th, so I definitely suggest going to go see it before it closes. But the book is just like super cute, and when I was leaving I was like, I have to get the book because I like the play so much. And it's super cute. It's told through dual point of view, and it's just like, it tells the story of Delilah, who's having a really hard time at home and at school, and she kind of finds solace in this fairy tale that basically the characters speak to her from the fairy tale. And then you have on the other side Prince Oliver, who kind of just isn't happy. He's one of the fairy tale characters, and he's not really happy with the way his life is going in the fairy tale. So he's kind of looking to break free. So it really was a very cute story, and I really liked it, so I had to pick it up. And this is by Jodi Picoult and her daughter Samantha Van Leer. So I'm really excited to actually like dive into this and see what the similarities between this and the play were. So that is Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. So yeah, those are all the books that I bought in August. There was a grand total of 18 books total. So I really outdid myself this month. I bought a lot of books. But I am super happy with the purchases, and I wound up getting a lot of them discounted, like I said. So I'm really excited. I think this is gonna be really fun. I don't know when the next time I'll have a haul this big will be, because I normally try to limit myself to 1 to 2 new books a month. I haven't bought anything yet in September, and we're 6 days in, so I feel like that's pretty good. So that is going to be all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed my little August book haul. Maybe you guys got some inspiration for some things that you guys might want to read as well. Or maybe you guys realize you can go to the library too. You can buy like their discarded books. So maybe you learned something today. So yeah, that's going to be all from me. Thank you for joining, and I will talk to you guys soon.